Good morning, traders. This is Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:48 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, June 19, 2020. Finally, Friday. So yesterday, uh, just basically an inside day with a small bearish tone to it because most of the prices were printed below the previous day's value area for all the indexes. If we look at the sheet, we have Quarles speaking at noon today, which shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? He's going to talk about stress testing at a conference at the Women in Housing and Finance Public Policy event. And then we're going to have Powell speaking at 1 o'clock, and this is going to be on building a resilient workforce during the COVID-19 era. So whatever that means. So I don't know if either of these are going to be a big deal. Uh, Keep in mind today is quadruple witching. So normally when we have quadruple witching, only 1 out of every 10 to 12 actually moves anywhere with any substance. So today looks like it could be a breakout day. Just trail it tight because it's likely to fall asleep this afternoon, and that's the way it goes. So looking at the profile from yesterday, right, this is perfectly, if you look at the blue, that was the overnight action, the gray is the bell to bell, and just perfectly balanced during the bell. No one wanted to do anything near what they did in the overnight. Look at, the overnight sessions for both the NASDAQ and the ES were far above and below the bell to bell range. So perfectly balanced day yesterday. So looking at the ES now, overnight, we have 43 points basically that have traded. And if we just look at, where we've been in the last 15 trading days and where we are now, if you look at the level fours, right, they're right in the middle of all this funk. And if you look at this Tuesday, I'm going to zoom into the chart from here going forward. At Tuesday at 8:45 a.m., between 8:45 and 9, we traded up to basically 31.56, and then by 11:15 a.m., so in 2 hours and 30 minutes, then we traded back down to the low here of 31.23, or I'm sorry, 30.76 half. We have not, that range traded in 2.5 hours on Tuesday. We have not got above that or below that since it traded. So we're just sitting here still in chop, although it looks like, we're breaking away from yesterday's action and potentially getting up towards the top end of, I'll turn on the extended session here for a second so you can see it, right? We're right now above, Wednesday and Thursday's action. We're above most of Tuesday's bell action. The high for Tuesday was right up here, right at 31.4275. So keep in mind that we're still in this Tuesday range, and don't get too excited. And we've got level fours above here, and I'm expecting some resistance whenever it's traded right around 31.7075, and I'm still expecting support, even though we've got close to it on Tuesday and then overnight Thursday. I'm still expecting support around 30.61 half on a first test. Those are going to be important support resistance lines when they trade. And with today being quadruple witching and options expiration for the monthly, I don't think we're going to get out of this area. We might not trade towards the lower end. We might be able to hold, up in the upper end of the chart, but it could turn into a snooze fest basically between 31.24-ish up to that 70 this afternoon. So you probably got about a 1-to-1 risk to reward at this point in time. So don't play with it too much is what I'm trying to say. And if we look at, all the indexes, they're all breaking out above. But like I said, most of them have the same pattern that we just looked at in the ES, still confined. And if we look at the little sequencing, we can see that the bulls are in total dominance and the bears just keep getting their hopes reset. Same thing with the NASDAQ, same thing with the Russell. So looking at the NASDAQ, and I'm going to actually show you the difference between these charts here. So I'm going to flip back to the ES here for a second. All right. So what I want to do is basically look at it from May 29th on, so basically the 1st of June. So as we look at what's happened here, see these highs that were made basically between June 5th and June 8th, how we're at the top, and right now, we've went back down. So we're basically a little bit above the middle. We're, starting to fill basically this raceway zone, right? So on June 5th, we come down, we went up, I'm sorry, and then on June 10th, we came down. We tried to get into it, Tuesday and Wednesday of this week without any real luck. So this is another attempt at getting into that area. So I'm going to throw, let's look at this with the actual contract. So when you look at the actual contract of September compared to the June contract, you can see the difference. That June contract, by the way, is going to expire right before the opening bell this morning. So you can see the chart looks entirely different when you look at it that way. So keep that in mind. But, right around where we topped out on Tuesday, so watch that level. That's going to be important as we approach it later today. It could end up being a lid, or we could end up trying to trade up towards that 71. Now, as we look back at the NASDAQ, and we can, look at it on either contract, it's not going to look a whole lot different. But, the ES was consolidating as we looked at it from basically May 29th up. It had hit those highs. So the NASDAQ didn't get 4 days of consolidation up here like the ES did. Then it fell. But if you look, it's already back at the high of the contract, where the ES would still be stuck below all this week's lows, basically, on the same chart. So the NASDAQ is much stronger. And breaking above this 10,019 half and holding now is going to be key. And then, you're just really have no resistance. You're going to have to rely on other things for technical targets for the ES or for the NASDAQ, because there's, we haven't been really up here before. Looking at the Dow, and again, we could put this on the U20 just to clean it up a little bit for today. But looking at the Dow, really there's no resistance until you get up towards 26,800 basically. And then again, you've got that Tuesday zone. Notice how the Dow did take it out by a little bit this week, that Tuesday low, but it didn't take it out by much and went right back into range. So watch again that high that was made from Tuesday. I think those are going to be key for everyone. And you could even watch 26,595 or 26,600. It'll probably be front run a little bit. And as we look back at the Russell now, the same way. You can see, again, that Tuesday action. You can see how the Russell took out those lows, and then it pretty much, put it in a higher low back up into that range. So that is going to be still something to watch. But if we look at the same area of the charts that we're looking at for everything, that's going to line up with right around 1492 for the Russell. So you can see we're struggling right here, just basically still in that Tuesday's range to get through those tops. So looking back at everything and putting it, and I did want to point out that we have, basically overnight, I don't normally do the commodities, but if we look at crude, crude is up overnight. If we look at gold, gold is up overnight, right? If we look at the dollar, it's down, but it's not really down that much, right? So the dollar isn't really as weak as everything else is strong, in my opinion. And then if we look at the bonds, they're a little bit weak. So basically the buying money that we're getting for the everything rising this morning is from the dollar and the bonds, right? That's where it's coming out of. So you can kind of watch those a little bit to see what kind of a ceiling we may end up today, see if they start reversing or if they start continuing, on their trends that could add fuel to this fire. I hope this helps. You guys have a great weekend. If you like this technical analysis, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you on Monday.